Geoff Fowler from the Wall Street Journal has been testing Apple's wireless AirPods for 3 months, and he's here to tell us how they compare with other wireless earbuds. Welcome back to the show, Geoff.
Thanks for having me.
So you call these $160 AirPods one of the best products Apple has made in years. Why?
Wow.
It's true. You know what? It reminds me of the good old Steve Jobs days at Apple, where like on those original iPods, when they just got so many little things right that took it to another level that you don't get from others in the industry. And you really feel that way about wearing these earpods. By the little things, I mean, so they come with this case. And anybody who's used Bluetooth headphones before knows it's sort of a pain every time you want to start them up. You got to press a button, turn it on, and connect via Bluetooth. With these things, you just put them in the case and they're off. You take them back out and they're on, connected to your device. That's it. You don't have to press any buttons. You don't have to mess with any settings or menus. Another little thing: you're playing your music and you want to pause it. You just take one of these out of your ear. The music pauses. You put it back in your ear, the music plays again. After using these for a while, I started to think, why can't every pair of headphones in the world do this? So they got so many of these little things right, and the feeling of being able to walk around, sort of not being tethered here, do the chat here on the show, not being tethered like a marionette, not have something smacking up against me when I go for a run. It just kind of brings the experience of listening to music and taking calls and interacting with my stuff, makes it just a lot nicer.
So you say you tried it on many different people's ears. That's the thing that people are saying, well, my ears are weirdly shaped. The earbuds never stay in my ears. Mm-hmm. What was your experience trying it in different shaped ears?
Yeah, this is the number one question that I've gotten from people. Is it going to work for me? The general rule of thumb I would give you is, so if Apple's traditional corded earbuds, the ones that look like this, if they fit you, probably these are going to as well. And maybe actually even a little bit better, because these don't have a cable coming out of them, yanking them down, pulling them down, weighing them down. So they're a little more likely to stay in there. I made several of my journal colleagues try out the AirPods, as well as actually we looked at 6 other of the totally wireless earbuds that you can buy right now, and they stayed in all of our ears. I've got a video on the journal website and on Facebook. You can watch me headbanging with them in slow motion to see how they stayed in there. So I haven't really found a case where they didn't fit people. That's not to say it doesn't exist, and this is the trade-off with these Apple products and many Apple products in general. There you go. I'm doing
nice.
the headbang.
Serious headbanging going on right there.
There you go. Thank you. Many Apple products make this compromise, right? They're one size fits all. And, that means millions and millions of people are going to be just fine with them. But it's possible that they may not be just right for you. And if that's the case, you can look at some of these others on the market. The thing that makes them different for sort of fundamentally is that they all come with ear tips that you can adjust. You can take off these little plastic or foam bits and make them adjust directly to your phone. You've probably seen them on devices in the past like this, where you just kind of get a little thing and try it out. So you can go that route. But the bad news is that of all the other totally wireless ones I tried, none really felt like they were worth the money right now. There's just a lot of technical problems that they still face. They drop out a lot, especially when you're outdoors, because Bluetooth technology is still a little wonky, or maybe they were a little uncomfortable in the ear or just didn't sound great. So we're at a point in the market right now where the AirPods really, I think, stand out from the competition in terms of kind of having the whole package.
Yeah, I mean, the whole package, including kind of the battery life aspect. I'm not sure you can tell me, but among the earbuds that you tested, I think the AirPods are one of the few that comes with like a self-charging case that they just live in, and that can be charged itself. I mean, battery is such a huge a huge consideration for all sorts of technology that we're using. When you're talking about these tiny little devices that are meant to be wireless and you want them to work all the time, I imagine that's a huge consideration too.
Definitely. So sort of the other pair that almost were my alternative to the AirPods were these made by Samsung. They're called the Icon X. And there's a lot to like about them. They also capture your heart rate, which is kind of cool if you're exercising. The outside of them are kind of control switches. You can like swipe on them and control your music, which you can't do on the AirPods. But these things, they only last an hour and a half.
Oh, it's nothing.
And that's just really not enough to kind of get you through a long commute in a day, and then you got to go recharge them. So that's something I'm sure Samsung will fix in future editions, which is kind of why I come down to this advice of if the AirPods aren't right for you right now, really kind of give it a little more time. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of them.
Mm-hmm.
And have you lost them?
So this is the other thing that everybody sort of is complaining about a little bit or worried about a little bit. You probably saw somebody made one of those classic iPod commercials with the people dancing, where in this case they were wearing these guys and they kind of fell out of their ears and on the floor. So
and the rest of the time trying to find them. Yeah,
exactly. That never happened to me, nor to my colleague Joanna Stern. Actually, she even at one point accidentally put them in the wash and laundered them, and they still came out and worked fine. But you do obviously have to learn kind of like to keep track of them. The charging in the case is part of it. So when you're using them, you have them on. When you're not using them, you put them back in the case. And that's also what turns them off and keeps them from sort of interfering with your phone. I just kind of got used to whenever I was using them, I put them in my trusty nerd pocket right here. My shirt, if you can see it, and that's how I knew where they were. Mm-hmm. So bring back the old pocket protector. That's what I say.
What did Joanna do? Because she doesn't usually have a nerd pocket.
Well, she has a pocketbook, and she has plenty of nerd pockets, I gotta say. She's also a nerd. But yeah, you just figure out a place in your life to keep them. But you do have to get in the habit, when you're done using them, you put them back in the case. And they sort of remind you to do that because that's the function of turning them off. There's no separate off button, right? So if you want to use your phone for other things, you're going to need to have them off as well. So again, that wasn't really a big problem for me. I can understand some people they're expensive, much more so than a traditional pair of headphones. So you do worry about losing them. And if you're super klutzy, the advice I give in my review is, if you want to join kind of this wireless world, but you are on a budget or you really lose stuff, this pair right here is actually amazing. You can buy these on Amazon. They're called the Tautronics. They cost $26. They sound really good. They do have this one cable connecting them, but otherwise they are Bluetooth, so you don't need a dongle to attach it to your phone. And they're a good plan B.
So you said that you only need to charge the case about once a week. Did you find that's what Apple says? Was that accurate in your testing?
That's totally accurate. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the sort of the joys of these. So it's obviously annoying to have to charge yet one more thing in your life. I don't know about you guys, but I have this little shrine next to my bed where every night I go and I plug in all of my things. You're going to plug in your watch, plug in your phone, plug in your tablet, you name it. So now you got another thing to plug in. But at least with these, you don't actually have to do it every night. You can just do it every once in a while when you think about it, when you remember it, which could be once a week or even less often, depending on how much you're using the EarPods. Because again, every time they go back into the case, they're charging themselves based on the battery in here, which was a very smart thing for Apple to do.
So not for people on a budget, but did you have any other negatives? I hear a lot of positives. Were there any other negatives to them?
Yeah, so there were some missed opportunities for Apple. For example, there's sort of the whole AirPod itself is a button. You tap twice on it, and it'll summon Siri. Won't do it now because we're talking to each other, and we don't need her to join our conversation. So that's how you get her in, or if you want to take a call. But you can't do more advanced things just by touching. So, for example, you're listening to a song, you got a playlist up, and you don't want to hear that right now. You want to skip to the next one. The only way to do that would be to summon Siri, ask her to skip to the next one, and then wait for that to happen. So that's a little bit annoying for some people. I have to say, though, after having used some of the other ones that do have controls built into the headset itself, there's this pair. Let me get them out of my bag of headphones here. This is a pair made by Braggy called the Headphone. They were one of the first people to come out with these totally wireless earbuds. They've got, I don't know if you guys can see that there. They've got all these tiny little buttons on the outside of the headphone, which do let you control things if you want to. But think about the act of like trying to push on buttons on your ear. It doesn't really work super well, and also it's not super comfortable. So I think there might be an opportunity to do more there. So that's one missed opportunity. The other big missed opportunity for Apple is some kind of Find My AirPods function. These are all Bluetooth devices, and we know that you can use Bluetooth to help you locate things. So you tell you how far away you are from them if they did fall in the in the sofa cushion or wherever. I have a hunch, and this is not based on anything, that that's the kind of thing Apple might be able to bring out in the future, maybe with a software upgrade. Certainly, I've heard some of the competitors here working on stuff like that. There's a pair called the Alpha Skybuds. That's another AirPod competitor, and they say that they are working on that function for theirs right now. So if they're a startup. If they can do it, I'm sure Apple could do it too if they wanted.
For sure.
Yeah, I have a pair of Studio 66. They're the BTS Sport, and they're the over-the-ear, which I like because I don't always love shoving things all the way inside my ear. And they have GPS on them, so I can use my phone to find them. So obviously, I think that you're probably right. They're just waiting for a version 2, something to hold out for version 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Joanna, I've read her tweets, and she said that people stare at her in the subway a lot wearing them. And that's coming from a woman who often wears a helmet cam and to do her videos. So how about you? Are you getting weird looks?
Yeah. People have definitely a lot of reasons to stare at Joanna in the subway that may or may not be related to the AirPods. So I live in San Francisco. I think people here are a little bit maybe more used to seeing weird technology or maybe ear adornments in general. I would say actually not really. It's not really been a big concern. Maybe once a week someone will come up to me and say, hey, are those AirPods? Do you like them? How'd you get them? Because of course they've been on delay. They've been delayed for so long. But those are usually kind of the Apple fanboys and fangirls out there more than others. But then again, I have no idea what people are thinking and not telling me when they see me wearing them. And listen, there is a big style concern here. You look like this wearing them. And yeah, even the headline of my review for the Journal said, yeah, these ugly things. They look like, I've heard from many Journal readers, some think they look like Q-tips. Others think they look like cigarette butts hanging out my ear. You name it. I think we're going to get over it, though. I think Apple has the cultural power, and also these things work well enough that people are going to want them, and then it's just going to seem kind of like a normal thing again.
Mm-hmm. I think by this time next year, everyone will be doing their Skype interviews with AirPods.
Everyone.
Everyone.
There you go.
Well, Geoffrey Fowler, thank you so much. Geoffrey Fowler writes personal technology reviews at the Wall Street Journal. You can find him there, and he has many great ways to spend the money that you get from returning the gifts that people got you that you didn't like. So thanks so much.
You bet.
Thank you. Have a great holiday.